Hello, my name is Kate Higgins, and I will be introducing Team Tagliatelle's presentation on the software development lifecycle and the Agile methodology. In this presentation, we will be discussing the software development lifecycle along with the Agile methodology and assessing them by comparison. As we move through the presentation, we will also look at the challenges faced, key lessons, and recommendations. I'd like to start by introducing you to our project manager, Jordan, who will introduce us to the Agile methods.
Hi, my name is Jordan, and in this project my role was the project manager. In this slide I will be talking about agile methods and how they handle client requirements compared to traditional development. Agile is a time-boxed, iterative approach to software delivery that builds software incrementally from the start of the project, instead of trying to deliver it all at once near the end. Its main features include requirement changes further into the project, burn down charts to predict metrics and end date of project finishing, review backlogs, and iterating on previous components of a project. As the methodology requires substantial amount of care and consideration, it makes team-based approaches much more acceptable and sustainable. As noted by the Capital One case study, all partners of the company are deeply embedded within the methodology for the quickest result and communication. Its main objectives are to quickly deliver an application with complete and functional requirements. Compared to traditional methods, this means quick iterations and analysis of the work already completed and in progress. These iterations are generally taken weekly, between 1 to 4 weeks at a time. These are called sprints. A sprint is one time-box iteration of a continuous development cycle. Within a sprint, planned amount of work must be completed by the team and made ready for review. The sprints can also be combined into sprints of sprints when the project is nearing its closing stage. The main stages of the methodology are the initiation, the sprint plan, and the demonstration. These are all essential to the completion of the project. As this method is quick and repetitive, the client will need to be involved within the process to give accurate updates and feedback. And now I'll hand you over to Emma Lawler for the SDLC.
Hi, my name is Emma, and I'll be talking about the SDLC, known as Software Development Lifecycle. The SDLC methodology handles documentation and reviews each process when using this approach. It is better suited for large projects and large enterprises when specifications and requirements must be outlined and clearly defined. There is a total of 6 steps in the software development lifecycle, and they include planning, requirements gathering and analysis, design, implementation or coding, testing and integration, and finally maintenance. By starting with the planning of a project, a helpful guide is created for a team throughout the execution and closing phases of the project. This allows for the SDLC cycle to flow smoothly. Requirements gathering and analysis phase is the main focus of the project managers and customers. Meetings with managers and users are conducted in order to determine the requirements. Questions like who is going to use the system and how will they use it are asked. In the design phase, the system and software design is prepared from the requirement specifications which were decided in the previous phase. For the implementation phase, the work is divided into units and the actual coding is started. It is then tested with the requirements in mind to make sure that the product is actually meeting the needs addressed during the requirements phase. After the code is developed, it is then, after successful testing and the team is satisfied with the product created, it is then deployed for customer use. The final stage of SDLC is maintenance. When the customers start using the system, then actual problems will occur, and these problems will need to be solved. It also should be noted that clients are less involved on user feedback and software development process rather than Agile. And now I will pass the presentation over to Alex.
Hi, my name is Alex Stubbs. I'm going to be discussing 6 project management challenges for project managers of Agile software systems. The first point is the reluctance for companies to change, as it is a major shift and a risk for their company. Retraining their employees take a lot of time and money, while enduring the failures that may come with early development of the new methodology. A lot of companies hesitate to change because of this. Oftentimes, companies may not have the experience or training required to shift to the Agile methodology. This requires them to hire from outside the company to train their employees for them, which comes at a cost of both time and money for the integration of new staff and getting to know the teams and training them. The cost of hiring the trainers can be expensive for a company to pay if they are a small business and not so much if they are a large business. Oftentimes, you have people on your team that lack the ability to work on their own initiative and need to be given tasks to complete. You may also run into the issue of team members failing to take ownership for their work, doing it wrong, and attempt to hide it from the team, which leads to issues later on in the project. This leads onto poor communication. Communication is key for a project to be successful. Poor communication can make any simple project a nightmare. It can increase the cost significantly, time mismanagement, stress, and poor quality of work. It can be very frustrating for a team to have poor communication causing tensions in the workplace. It is paramount that this is an issue resolved quickly or the client is not going to be happy with the work. The purpose of a Scrum Master is to identify, fix, and remove any challenges that the team may encounter during the project. These may be unexpected workloads they did not account for or changes to the project requested by the client. A company may be quick to draw the gun on changing to a new methodology like Agile. They may have seen data of the effectiveness of the Agile methodology and want to switch to their company over quickly to not lose profits. Transferring a large company to a new methodology can take years to implement and is not a quick process. Some companies may fall into the trap into thinking that it is a simple task to change their methodology and not implement it properly, instead cutting corners, which will increase the time and money to fix that issue. Thank you for listening. Up next this week is Mark Carley.
Hello, my name is Mark Carley. My student number is 20071864. And in this part of the presentation, I just want to go through any and all recommendations of fourth years going forward into this part of the course, specifically for project management. So there's a list of different recommendations here. The first one being is to make sure to assign students in each individual group to specific roles. So this kind of helps people know who's in charge of different parts or aspects of their assignments, so on and so forth. The second part here is to make sure to actually set up any and all group chats, specifically via FaceTime Messenger or WhatsApp in this case there as well, and also to make sure to set up a Trello account. So Trello will help put in notes and help manage notes and any and all tasks coming forwards into each assignment. The other important aspect here is to make sure to set up scheduled meetings with your group as well, and give your thoughts and opinions over the coming weeks. The second last part here is when you're done finishing write-up specifically for assignments, make sure to, when you have it combined basically, when you export and make sure to reformat and make sure everything is correct. This can also give you docked marks if you're not doing so. And lastly, the last part is make sure to set actual clear deadlines for your assignments. Don't leave everything last minute. Try and set in your heads. Make sure to get everything done like a week before and then go over anything then afterwards. It kind of gives you a better grade overall basically and kind of follows up on your mistakes. So that's everything. I just want to pass it through to my next colleague there, Ash.
Thanks, Mark. The first point on this slide basically refers to concise documentation, meaning that we keep it short. We keep it concise, short, clear, to to the point. We're using simple sentences so that when another team member, or even when we're reading back, or perhaps it's someone from outside the team is reading our documents, they have a clear understanding of what it is. Another good practice is formatting, keeping everything the same format so that when we're reading it, it's easier on the eyes, it's more aesthetically pleasing, and it helps us remember it. I think it also gives a sense of unification amongst the team members because it's all the same, it's nice. But I think the main point we discovered in our debriefing is organisation. You need to keep everything organised, whether it's organised by who was delegated what task, or the timeline in which you've done it, or even the header under which your task falls, like maybe in progress or finished. For this, we use Trello. It uses cards organised in a click-drag sort of way. That's how you reorganise it in cards and columns. This was very handy. And it also had CRUD, create, read, update and delete, and allowed us to put in comments on each other's work as we go. Say how well it was doing, say, oh, you missed this bit, or maybe I need to do this later, and talk and communicate, which is really good. It's like an ongoing progress for you. But I believe regular meetings face-to-face are still very useful because nothing can beat it. Unfortunately, if you're having a clear, concise communication with the client, maybe it's not unfortunate, but it can cause reiteration, which means we have to take a step back, use previous documents or old stuff to restart, basically. To get better in line with the client or the customer if you're going out into the market with your product. Get it better in line with what they want, which is also quite nice. I'm going to let you go on to Kate now. She's got a little bit to say. Thanks very much for listening.
To conclude our presentation, I'd like to sum up by saying that not only has this project given us the opportunity to explore the software development lifecycle in much greater detail, along with comparing it to another methodology that most of us will be implementing going forward, but also gave us the chance to implement the Agile methodology in the project itself. On behalf of our team, I'd like to thank the lecturer for his constant engagement with the team and acting as the client in meetings when needed. Thank you.